Hello everybody, this is December the 7th. Many years ago on December the 7th was when the event happened at Pearl Harbor that really kind of changed the course of history. For those of you who live in the United States, let's don't forget what happened that day. Anyway, I'm over here where I deer hunt. I came over about 3 weeks ago, but it was just pretty much a scouting trip just to see what the woods look like. Hadn't got to hunt this year. Early, right before deer season started, my wife broke her leg. So I was around the house for a while for that. Then a couple of jobs came up that I took and did. But now I'm over here to hunt for a few days. Last week I was coming, but it looked like rain every day, and it was pretty much rain every day. It's raining right now. I got here in time this afternoon to set this camp up and get my canopy up, and it started raining. Now it's not going to rain long, maybe 8 or 9 o'clock tonight, and it's going to be done. And next week looks spectacular. No rain, or very little chance of rain, and low temperatures in the 30s at night and 40s at night, 50s and 60s during the day, so it should be a good week to hunt. I'm going to hunt hard. I'm probably going to be here till Friday. I'll probably hunt Friday morning and then go home. But we've got 2 packs of ground deer burger left in the freezer. That's all the deer meat from last year. So I need a deer. Over on the river where I hunt, I can shoot a doe. It's bow season over there right now. I can shoot a doe or a buck. Over here where I'm camped, it's primitive weapons season, and I can shoot a buck or a doe. So I'm probably going to hunt over there in the mornings and hunt over here on the green field in the afternoons. But my intention is to hopefully come home next week with some deer meat and maybe some footage for y'all to look at. So anyway, I'm here to enjoy it for a few days. Back at the end of last deer season, where I hunted on the river over there, I had found a place that was just tore up with rubs. And I hunted there the last 2 or 3 days, and I saw 4 bucks in 2 days over there. I didn't get to kill any of them. I went back over there yesterday morning, and same area, a lot of rubs, some scrapes. I didn't see any deer, but I enjoyed the woods. Come back over here and hunted yesterday afternoon. Went down a road way back into the oaks. Didn't see deer, but I saw some sign. Saw some beautiful woods, that's for sure. But yesterday morning, I was getting ready to leave around 5 o'clock, and a truck pulled up. And there's an old road here that goes back in the woods, way back in there. And the guy got out and asked me, was I going to hunt back there? And I told him no. And he said, well, I got a stand back there. You mind if I go? No, I said, no, you come and go as you want to. You go. I'm not going to hunt here. So anyway, I got back over here probably around 1 yesterday, and was messing around, getting the fire ready for last night. And he pulled back up about 2:30. And had a little plastic sled with him. He pulled it up right here, and said he was going to go back there and get his stand. I said, you see anything this morning? He said, yeah, killed a 6-point back there, right behind my camp, about 100 yards back there. Said he killed an 8-point back there last week. So good for him. Anyway, I got up early this morning. Vehicle going by out there. Got up early this morning, went back to the river, and I found some giant rubs, giants. Biggest rubs I've seen since I was in Kansas, back when I was in the Army. Just on trees like this, massive rubs. There was 2 of them, 2 big ones, and then one about half that size that had a big scrape around it. So There's just not a tree there to climb. There's just not one. I'm going to have to hunt that on the ground. I don't want to, but I'm going to have to. I'm going to go back there in the morning. Man, I'm telling you, that was some impressive stuff. I had to get your blood boiling right there. I don't have to kill that deer. I'd like to, but I'd sure love to see him. I would love to at least see him. But I hunted over here this afternoon. Same place I was at yesterday afternoon. Didn't see any deer, but there's good sign back there. And over here it's primitive weapons. I can shoot a doe or a buck. Over there I can shoot a doe or a buck, but it's with a bow. Anyhow, I've got me a good fire going. When it burns down to coals, I'm going to grill some chicken and a pork chop. Hit the sack. These long days, early mornings, tear my whole butt up. So we'll see how tomorrow goes. Last deer season I wound up my hunts over here, right here in this area. In about a 5-acre block right here, there was probably 40 rubs. Now here's 3 right here. Already this year. There's another one right out there you probably can't see. There's a bigger one right over yonder. And there's 2 more right out there. So this is a hot spot right here. It was last year, and looks like it is again this year. Here's another rub and a scrape. Another rub right over there. Now the rut is probably still about 3 weeks away right here. That's a really big rub right there. That's a fine one. This is another really big rub right here. There's a big deer in this area. After this morning's hunt, I had to go to town. I had to get a couple of things. And got back here kind of late this afternoon, so I didn't hunt this afternoon. It got about 65 degrees today. It's the warmest it's been since I've been here. It's been really nice weather. Down in the 30s at night. Yesterday the high was about 52. Day before that it was about the same, about 52. Sunday evening when I got here, got my camp set up, and as soon as I got everything set up, it started raining. It's been raining over in this part of the world last 2 weeks a lot. And it rained. I didn't even build a fire Sunday night. I just ate sandwiches and went to bed. And it rained until probably about 9 o'clock. And right around 10 o'clock, I think I was finally drifting off to sleep. And when it's raining in that camp, on that tin roof, it's loud. It's loud. It's nice listening to it, but it's so loud I can't go to sleep. So anyway, about 10 o'clock, I think I was almost asleep, and right out there on the road, there was a gunshot, and I was getting up out of the bed, and 4 more real quick right out there. I never heard anybody. I came out on the porch, never heard anybody. I never heard a truck leave. I don't know what that was all about. Way off in the middle of nowhere like this, you don't ever know. You never know. About 6 months ago, there was a guy about 14 miles from here, stole a log truck and run down in this part of the world. The cops were after him. They weren't right on him, but he come down this road that I'm on right here. And there was a guy that happened to be here on the side of the road, had gotten out of his truck And that guy in the log truck pulled up and jumped out and tried to steal this fellow's truck. And that guy ran off in the woods. Anyway, the cops arrived and arrested him. So out here, you don't ever know what's going to happen. But anyway, I hunted this morning. It was an excellent morning. I didn't see any deer, but I had one come up on me downwind. And I didn't know it was there, and it run off. I heard it, but I didn't see it. But I found some more good sign. I hunted over here this morning. I didn't go to the river. But tomorrow morning, I'm probably going to hunt here again. And then go back over to the river on Friday morning. Where those big giant rubs are. Those things have me excited. So, it's going to be an early night. It's still daylight. It's about 5 o'clock. It's going to be dark in about 30 minutes. I'm going to cook something. When I get this burnt down into coals, I'm going to cook something right there and hit the sack, because I was pretty tired this afternoon. But getting up at 4:30 and traipsing around these woods all day will wear you out. Especially when you get my age. Anyway, maybe tomorrow I'll have some deer footage maybe. Alright, I'm done with this hunt. I'm about to head home. I've hunted 4.5 days and haven't seen a deer. I don't know, there's been a guy going back here hunting. He saw a buck back there this morning, just didn't shoot it, said it was a little small thing. But I've hunted some really good sign. I hunted over here yesterday. I didn't even go to the river. And I hunted some real good rubs and scrapes yesterday morning and yesterday afternoon. But I never saw the deer. Never saw any deer. Anyway, I'll be back in a couple of weeks. Maybe it'll be better then. So y'all take care. I'm in my hunting grounds again. I got over here yesterday. And I ran over to the river just to have a look. Didn't go in the woods too far, because it was about 74 degrees. Right now it's 78 degrees. Tomorrow it's supposed to be 80 degrees. And this is the 27th, 2 days after Christmas. Fixing to be 80 degrees. But then there's some rain tomorrow night and early Monday morning. Then the temperature plummets down in the low 30s and into the low 20s. So first part of the week's going to be really good as far as temperature goes. I went over there and hunted this morning. Came out at 11. It was starting to get pretty warm by then. But it was like 65 degrees when I went in the woods this morning. But the way I eased around, it was pleasant. I didn't see any deer. I heard 2 shots. It's primitive weapon season over there right now. That'll end on the 30th. But I didn't see any deer. But I found some more really good signs. Another giant rub and a huge scrape. And a place for the deer. 3 different trails in there. It's heavily used. Of course, some of it's pigs, but still, there's a lot of deer sign. So I'll be back over there in the morning, early. Hunt probably till about 11 again, and then it's just too hot. Stay in the woods. So I come back over here and mess around. I've been gathering up firewood here this afternoon. I'm going to be here probably 7 or 8 more days. I'm going to need a lot of firewood. But I'm enjoying it. Sure like to see that buck that's making those big rubs. I'd like to at least look at him, even if I don't get to shoot him. Anyway, it's getting late in the day now. And I'll cook supper and go to bed pretty early again. I was in the bed by 7 o'clock last night. So anyway, maybe the next 2 or 3 days I can get a deer or 2. I can shoot a doe over yonder. I can't shoot one here. Buck's only over here. But it's rifle season here. And last time I was here, which was about, 2.5 weeks ago now, I was on some real good buck sign on this property, about a half a mile from here. And tomorrow, when I come back from the river, I'm probably going to go around there and have a look and see if he's been back and made any fresh sign lately. So anyway, that's what's going on right now. This may be my last deer hunting trip this year. Looks like I got a big job coming up. So we'll see. When I came out of the woods about noon today, it was about 82 degrees. I had taken off my shirt. All I had on was my orange vest. It was hot. But I had a pretty good morning. I went through a really, really thick, terrible, tangled place to get to an opening that I knew was way back in the woods. And going through all that thick stuff, I had run across a couple of really good rubs in there. I found one spot where it was so thick, it was almost like a tunnel going up in there to a bunch of blow-down trees. And that's as far as you could go in there. And there was a big rub back in there, so I bet that a buck was bedding there occasionally. He wasn't there this morning. But there would be no way to approach that deer without him knowing you were coming. No way. But anyway, I got through all that thick stuff, and it was about 9 o'clock, and I'd come to where I could kind of see a little bit out there. And it was really thick on my right, and there was a big old fox squirrel out in front of me, and I took my GoPro out, and I videoed him a little bit. Put my GoPro up, and all of a sudden I heard crashing right here, and I looked, and a doe comes zooming by me. And another one comes zooming by me. I'm at 10 yards. And there was another one coming, and I could see that there probably wasn't anything behind it. So she got right out in front of me, and I went, "Meow," and she stopped right there, about 10 yards away. And I was on her. I was going to shoot that deer. But she saw me and took off, and I didn't get a shot. So I was going, well, deer don't run through the woods on an 80-degree day just for the fun of it. So they were running from something, and where I was at, it was extremely unlikely that it was somebody. And so it was either a hog or a buck, probably a buck, running those deer around. So I stood there about 5 minutes. Sure enough, a deer came right up behind me. I didn't know it was there. I didn't hear it coming. It was just all of a sudden, a deer snorted right behind me and took off. I turned around. I didn't see its head, but I'm pretty positive that was probably a buck that had been running those does, and he was trying to find them again. But anyway, I got to see deer this morning. I came out about 10:30 from that spot, went back across the road where the big rubs are, and had found this morning a bush that was growing out of the ground. And two limbs coming off of it were about that big. They grew up like this. And a buck had destroyed that, broke them off, and they were on the ground. It was quite impressive, the strength that it took to do that. But anyway, I got in there, and I took my old man in there and got off about 40 or 50 yards south of this trail that comes in, where there's rubs on it, a big scrape, where I think that big buck is coming through those woods. So I got my stand hooked on a tree right there. I'm going to be in that stand at about 5 in the morning. Tonight it's supposed to rain. And right now it's hot. It's in the high 70s. It's been dropped out of the 80s, but it's in the high 70s. It's supposed to rain tonight around midnight, and by morning it's supposed to be about 42 degrees. And the high tomorrow is 49. The wind out of the north, it switches. It's been out of the south and southwest ever since I got here Friday. So tomorrow should be a better day temperature-wise for sure. It will be. And tomorrow night the low is like 24 degrees, and the morning after that is like 24 degrees. So the next 2 or 3 days is temperature-wise should be really good in the woods. Man, I'm hoping to see a buck, especially the one that's really tearing those woods up over there. I'd like to see that deer. A couple of days ago, I had come out to the truck about 10:30. I was just taking a short break, and I was going right back in the woods. And I had heard a couple of shots down to the west of me that morning. And a guy came by pulling a trailer with a four-wheeler on it. Behind that four-wheeler on that trailer was a splendid 8-point. He was a fine animal. Then something came up. I had to go home for a couple of days. And but I got back yesterday afternoon, hunted all day. Well, I didn't hunt all day, but I hunted till about 2 today. I didn't see anything. And right before I went home, the 2 days prior, I hung my old man in a tree. Trail had come up out of the woods like this. Some big rubs right down there. Come up by a big scrape and went out and crossed the road about 150 yards out there into another big block of wood. So I was watching this trail. And first day I stayed in that stand till about 12:15, 12:30, didn't see anything. And then the next day, which was the last day I hunted until today, I stayed till 2:20. Didn't see any deer, but I got out of my stand. My truck's not very far. Got out of that stand. I had gotten worn out. The old seat in that old man, it's a web seat, and it's done wore out, and it's not very comfortable. I stood it as long as I could. Anyway, I went out to the truck, got in the truck, looked at the clock. It said 2:25. And I looked up down the road about 150 yards away, and a real nice buck walked out on the road and turned and looked at me and stood there looking at me for about a minute. I rolled the window down and got outside the window so I could see him better, because the window's nasty from the dust and mud and all that. He was a pretty good deer, but he stood there a long time looking and then just walked off. Anyhow, I'm gonna be back in that stand in the morning. The wind's been out of the north so far while I was hunting that stand. It'll be out of the north tomorrow, and I'm gonna give it a good shot tomorrow. But after tomorrow, for the next several days, the temperature just gets warmer and warmer again, and the wind's gonna be out of the south, so that stand won't be any good. I'll probably bring that stand out with me tomorrow when I come out of there. But I got 2 or 3 more days to hunt, and man, I sure hope to get something. That's a deer burger from that doe I shot last year. I got one more pack in the freezer. I got one more patty for tomorrow night here, but I got one more pack in the freezer at home, and that's the end of the deer meat. So next 2 or 3 days, I really need to shoot a deer. When I make this myself, and when I grind it, I put about 20% beef fat in there and some bacon. And man, that makes a really juicy burger right there. Those things are good. All right, I just got through with the morning hunt. Now, 3 days ago, I got up on a buck, a big buck with a big rack. He was in some thick stuff. I didn't know he was there. I jumped him and he ran off. I was hunting with my bow. I didn't have a shot, and I just had to watch him run off. He was a fine one. He was a great deer. Then the next morning, I was hunting in a place, and a 6-point came up on me at about 10 o'clock that morning, about 20 yards away. But he was behind some stuff. I didn't have a shot on him. And he finally saw me and he ran off. So yesterday morning, I went back down there where I saw the 6-point. I went real early and took my little small lone wolf stand and climbed a tree. There was a bunch of big rubs there and several scrapes. I sat there all morning, and then about 10 minutes till 10, I had stood up in the stand, and it was about 10 till 10. I heard something back to my right, and I turned around and looked, and there was a buck back there making a scrape and rubbing a tree. Now I could see that he had a rack, but I couldn't tell anything about it. But then he stepped out, and I seen he was a really good deer, real good deer. He was more than an 8-point. Might have been a 10-point, but he was a 9-point for sure. Had good mass, tall tines, and the deer came on around. He was at an angle. If he'd have kept on his track, it would have been about a 30-yard shot when he got in an opening. But instead, he turned and kind of angled toward me. And he got to within about 15 yards, and he was broadside, but he was behind a bush. and I didn't have a shot. And I was sitting there going, man, and the wind was wrong. I don't know how he didn't smell me already. But he'd sit there and he would sniff the ground and look around and sniff the ground. And he did that for about a minute while I was sitting there going, any second he's going to smell me and he's going to take off. But eventually, instead of taking 2 more steps and it had been wide open and I'd had a good shot, broadside shot, he turned and walked right toward me and stopped right there. Later on, I ranged it. He was 8 yards from the tree that I was in. And he was facing me, and he had his head down. And I was going, he's going to smell me any second. So I put the crosshairs right between his shoulder blades right there. I said, I'll shoot him. It'll bust his spine and put him down right there. Plus the arrow will go down into his chest. So that's what I did. I shot him, and when I shot that deer, he took off. Instead of falling right there like I thought he was going to, he took off and turned and went back the way he came from. He was getting it, and I could see about this much of my arrow sticking up out of his back. How in the world that thing ran off with that kind of shot is beyond me. It was stunning. But when I seen him go out of sight, I said, that's probably the last time I will ever see that deer. And I got down, and I knew there wasn't going to be any blood because the arrow didn't come out. And up here, there may be a little blood, but it ain't going to be much. And I went out to where I last saw him. I didn't see anything. I searched for that deer for 3 hours, all down through the woods, back and forth, making big circles. I'd come back to the stand, start again, go this direction, go. I looked and I looked and I looked, and I never found that deer. I'm cursed, I guess. I shot a deer almost in that same place last year, broadside at 10 yards, and followed him for 5 hours following blood, and I'd jump in and I don't know, I'm using NAP kill zone broadheads. I don't know if maybe these last 2 shots didn't deploy, I don't know, but before I left the truck yesterday morning, I made sure that that broadhead that I was using was working right. And I don't know, y'all, I don't know. I'm sick about that, because I know I killed that deer. He died, no doubt about it, he died. He couldn't have survived that wound. It went down into his chest. But good gosh, it's a killer. So depressing. Anyway, I just got through hunting on a field over here this morning. I was looking at 3 really fresh scrapes, but I didn't see anything. So I got to pack this up and go home. Probably the last time I'll be over here this year. So anyway, maybe I'll hunt around the house and get one, or maybe.